roll, and I'll adjust in just a second.
Okay. I know you're speaking, but we need to
Yep. Let's pray. Dear Father, we just thank you so much for today. Lord, I thank you so much for each person around these tables. And Lord, I especially thank you for the season that we're getting ready to celebrate. Lord, I thank you so much for sending your son, not as a baby, but also to die on the cross for us. Lord, I pray that you just continue to be with us, be with our families, and be with this time of the season that we have the celebration. Lord, I pray that now you just bless us food and nourish our bodies. It's always in Jesus' name.
Thank you. Amen. I feel one in our flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for doing that. Do we have any guests or visiting Rotarians?
I have as my guest Mr. Brad Abercrombie, the Director of Main Street Lawrence.
I got you today, my wife and Beth. She runs the Bad Corporation.
I'm sure somebody knows her.
And many of you already know Faye. She's our Director of Communications in the district, so she's here with us today.
Glad you could join us today. All right, and now if we could get someone to do the happy bumps. John.
Eric said he would really love to do it.
I you were just about to drink, so I figured.
Oh, okay. What we got here, Barry? Christmas season.
Happy to be here.
Happy to be here.
Happy to be here too. Thank you.
Very good. All right, what does this do?
Good
Good in the world. Good in the world.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
What does anybody do?
Announcements. So I will introduce our speakers today. And we have Dr. Jody Penland, our superintendent of Lawrence 55, going to do our presentation today. Jody's spent probably most of your career with our district. And he's been our superintendent plus interim for going on 2 years now. So we're excited to have him present today something that I am excited about, and that's our CATE Center. And I think he's going to talk about some other things too. So, Dr. Penland?
I'm going to stay away from that because I think I'm loud enough. So I do want to kind of share a couple of things with y'all today. A lot of the questions that we get whenever we're out and about is, what are you going to do about all this growth? You know, you see houses going up, you see a lot of communities being added, and so I kind of want to just kind of address, where we are, the process that we've done, and where we're headed with some of the growth needs that we'll have. And so we have been working with an architect, and Ben Thompson's been here before. Y'all may know that, but they were with Hasman. I just lost her name. Hasman Gill, whatever. McMillan, yeah. So
McMillan, there you go.
yeah, that's it. And so they have been working with us through our process of doing an enrollment study, kind of a population growth. We've done that. They've come in and done site work to actually review our sites, to look at the capacity of our buildings, and that type of thing as we've been kind of going forward. So a couple of things that we wanted to just kind of share was, how do we keep our schools up to date? What do we do on the daily basis or annual basis to keep our schools up to date? Are we growing? If so, how much and where? Can our schools handle the changes in enrollment? And what are some of the ways we can improve our schools? So that's kind of the questions we've been kind of hammering at over the past couple of years to really look at and prepare for the growth as we go forward. One of the things that we do for our upkeep of our schools, we have so much money that we have allotted for each year to do a lot of the technology upgrades. We have some money set aside for, roofing, HVAC, that type of thing. So whenever you're thinking about just in your own home of the upkeep that you have all these larger facilities that we have to do there. And so are we growing, looking at population growth, are we growing right now? We're still kind of at a steady or maybe a slight decline in our buildings, but then we also see hundreds of houses getting ready to be built, so we have to be ready for that. And can our schools handle that change? So that's why we did the site study, and they actually came in and said, okay, here's your rooms, here's the way you use those rooms, these are the programs that you have, and what type of numbers can you have in those facilities. And then we'll continue to look at that. So some of the guiding principles that our board has been working with and that we've been looking at is what does it make to make the schools safe and secure, decrease yearly operating costs, so are there some changes that we can do that upgrade our facilities to make some of the kind of expenditures of our our monthly costs go down. Needed amount of space required, renovate or replace. So it's like do you renovate, do you replace, or do you use the existing campuses in a different way? The current or the needed functions that will help that, and then if there's something that we can do shifting wise, what does that look like? And then transparent interaction and oversight and reporting is something that we're also looking at. So those have been our guiding principles as we've been going through building our plan. Our board has done a work session. They kind of put out some ideas, put out a lot of things, and what you have in front of you is kind of the plans that have been developed as part of what the facilities need. And but we're at a point now of what will our community support. So we're looking at how will we fund this? What will we need to do? Is it something that we just put in a plan and we just start hammering off as we can? But then also looking at, is there a referendum that that's needed? Are there other funds out there that we could apply for or grab down to be able to work with some of these needs? And so our initial options, we've looked at many different ones. So the ones that you have in front of you, we'll go through in just a minute. But it's like whenever you think about the old penny sales tax, every community had to get something for it to pass. That was kind of the mindset of you need to have every single group getting something. So one of those is that every school gets something. And so that way you get a bigger buy-in. Do we need to consolidate elementary schools? What does that look like inside of our buildings? That was one of the other things we considered. Do we consolidate middle schools? That was one of the things that we were looking at with the previous referendum is consolidate all the middle schools into one at the current high school and build a new high school. Well, that failed 80-20. So, that was something that we wanted to put back out there. And then the high school had multiple options. Do you do a phased high school construction on the current site? Kind of a tear down, rebuild. Do you build a new high school adjacent and so that you can still use the athletic facilities? Or do you just go to a whole new site and build a whole new campus? And then scenario 5 is something that will still continue to redraw attendance lines, grade alignments, and that type of thing with existing campuses. So those were the initial options that we in the board had looked at, and that's kind of where I'll kind of go from there. So the funding strategies, I've kind of talked about this, pay as you go, referendum, other considerations as in where can we grab those funds, what does it look like with an impact fee, what does it look like with kind of the different combinations of fundings, are there state fundings out there, federal funds out there to be able to accomplish this in the next 10 years. So another thing you have to think about is do you do it now or do you wait till the price goes up? And so it's one of those things that you never know exactly what the inflation rate will be. But is it going to cost us $1 now, $2 later, or how does that look and compare? So this is what you actually have in front of you, and I'm going to grab mine so I can read it a little bit better too. So you can kind of see each one of the schools is listed there, and that's kind of the needs based on the attendance growth projections, what's currently there, what the current functions are, and what is actually needed. For example, Lawrence Elementary, reassess enrollment, additional long-term improvement, 1 to 2 years. Extend the improved condition of the car loop, so whenever you start thinking about asphalt costs and that type of thing, upgrade the car loop, and that. So right now, looking at this, they may need 4 to 6 rooms based on the growth. EB, look at the enrollment, upgrade the car loop, playground, play fields, address maintenance items, and roofing issues there. Forward, looking at the kind of the growth there, I think they probably will need about 4 to 6 rooms also. Waterloo is more addressing maintenance. We had some drainage issues that we've already kind of, so whenever you think about Waterloo, Waterloo was a place that flooded. It's kind of built down in a hole, so we had to do some grading this year to kind of get the water away from the building. Then you have Hickory Tavern, Lawrence Middle, Sanders. You can see Sanders is listed there as already under construction. We actually already opened up the new wing there, so we had access to some ESSER funds through all the COVID stuff that we utilized to build a wing at Sanders. And so that opened up 4 more classrooms for us and different things there. And so you can see Drayport's there. Drayport's actually going to need probably the most space based on that growth there. We're anticipating 10 more classrooms needed over the next several years that will need to be allowable for those housing developments right there around the school, but also up closer to Fountain Inn. This one needs a multi-purpose room, just like Hickory Tavern. And so you can kind of see that each school needs a little something or more somethings at each one of those locations. And so that would be something that we can look at, is that something that's all part of the referendum? How much of that do you do? How much of this is a pay as you go? How do you start chipping away at the list that's the needs at each one of those locations? And then you've got the high school. So the board has decided, and we've kind of agreed, or we have agreed, not sort of agreed, but we have agreed that it's more of a phased-in approach to kind of rebuild on site. That way you can utilize the athletic facilities. There's a couple of very new buildings and facilities on that campus also that you wouldn't want to lose. And so I'll kind of go through what that looks like, but it's more of a tear down. Actually, our high school was one of 2 in the state that was built on the pod system. Spring Valley did that also, and they have torn theirs down and rebuilt on site also. So that's kind of the mindset that we're looking at as we move forward. So that's currently the landscape of our high school. So you can see all these pods in the middle. That's kind of everything. Nothing has a straight hall in there, so that's a safety and security issue. Whenever you start looking at new facilities, they like long straight hallways to be able to have better sight lines. This was built more as an open air facility, so like whenever you walk through those pods, you could actually hear into all the classrooms whenever you were there. Those walls have been closed off, so it's actually kind of pie-shaped classrooms as you go through there. So there's no 90-degree angles in this building. So that's kind of where we are right now. On the far right is the meeting gym with the green roof, and you have the larger gym, and then the L building, which is a straight line there. Those are fairly new and may need a little bit of renovation in the gym. The back 2 green roof buildings are our new facilities, A and Y buildings. And then you have our tech building over here on the far left. So looking at keeping the facilities of the 1s and 2s and kind of going through that process of tearing down and rebuilding. And so you can see where the different things would actually move space-wise. And then you can see that this would provide more straighter hallways, more of a building, and an enclosed green space for our facility around the round. So you would actually have a safer space for kids to go, like in between classes or for lunches and that kind of thing. And then at the end, this would then become a parking place, tear down the current tech building because it would be kind of enclosed in that. So that's kind of the tear down, phase in process, thought, mindset. But we're still looking at what that looks like in each one of those phases, how long will it take. Once we have the money, it's about a 2 to 3 year phase process, because you have to kind of go in, work on one area, tear down, and actually have space for the kids to go to classes before you can tear down another section. So you have some of that in and out there. All right, so is now the right time? So that's kind of what we're looking at. You know, you have some taxes going up, you have some different things. You know, we talk about, you know, funding, but when is the right time? You know, that's one of the things that we'll be starting with our community meetings. We'll be looking at, you know, kind of ramping that up in the first part of the year, going out and saying, this is kind of the needs. What are you willing to support? What are you willing to provide funding for? And if it's just the high school, or if it's high school and all the components, or if it's just the components and not the high school. So that would be something we'd be asking the community to help us to kind of go to the next step. All right, questions on this part of my presentation? On the facility needs and kind of growth there. Yes, sir.
For the new school, what you planning, will it be all on one floor? Or?
Currently, right now, what they have kind of shown us is all first story. Yes, sir.
Another question was, is this matter with the illegal immigrants still in effect? Are we getting any of those down here?
We don't really know their immigration status. I know whenever I was running some numbers the other day, Ford is currently 48% Hispanic. So I don't know the legal status of them, but that's kind of our population. Whenever you look at our school district as a whole, we're about 18% Hispanic. Looking at that, yes, sir. Yeah, that will tip of the, yes, sir. Right. Some of them aren't too. Yeah. I don't know the background of that one, or how all that's.
Every time we touch government, whether it's hospital or school, they schools.
And I can tell you, Greenville's size of their population is 10% of the state. You know, so we call them the state of Greenville in some of our conversations. But yeah, I understand. Yes, sir.
And that would give Will Land school out need. And that just points to it.
I know that all these schools feed into Lawrence High School. What are some of the numbers as far as the change in the last 10, 20 years, the numbers that we have in high school?
High school, I think the largest population they have had, and this has probably been 15 years ago that I know of, was close to 1,600. We're running around 1,400, maybe a little bit more than that right now. So probably 15 to 20 years ago, it was at its max capacity. You know, you had people in every closet and every little area like that. So that's why I'm saying, you know, over the years we've kind of decreased a little bit, but we see that we're getting ready to jump back up. All right. So now I want to jump into CATE Center. So kind of thinking of a different pot of money, going after different funding, and looking at a career and technology center. So that's what CATE stands for, career and technology. Whenever you're looking at a partnership between Lawrence and Clinton, this is what we've been working with an architect, this State has already given us around $4 million to do kind of some preliminary planning, kind of work with architects, secure land, and we'll start working on a process. And the thoughts that the legislature would be able to have provided a large chunk of money, $40, $50 million, to actually help us build this. That has kind of not passed the past couple of years. That we're going to try again this year, but all line item kind of earmarked monies kind of went away this year in the state. But this was one of the things that we were working on with legislature, and with Clinton. So whenever we have been working on this, we have been consistently meeting to kind of develop what this looks like, what programs we would be including, and also what services we'd be able to provide with for our students. So kind of the history of this, if you go back, let's see, penny sales tax came out, what, 8-10 years ago? I'm trying to think of that. So whenever, a couple of years before that, we were planning and thinking about a CATE center at that time. So we were in the process of being on the penny sales tax program as one of the list as options. But knowing that we were going to take the majority of the money, we were asked to not be part of that, so that you could get the 16, the 16 different groups or whatever. And so because we would have been taking a large chunk or requesting a large chunk of the penny sales tax.
Jody, I think you said 18 years ago, but I think you meant 2018. Somewhere. Did you say 18 years ago?
I think I said 10 years.
8 to 10.
8 to 10, yes, 8 to 10, yeah, 8 to 10 years ago. Because the penny sales tax is about to finish up in the next year or two. I think 2028 is when the penny sales tax goes away, so that would be another step on there. So we have been kind of consistently looking for and trying to develop ways to provide these services to our kids. Right now, both high schools are considered comprehensive high schools that have some of the career and technology programs in their facilities or in our facilities that we can provide that. But whenever you look at some programs, some of them are very expensive to house. Some of them don't have a large enough population that need that both of us could not duplicate, but if we combined, we'd be able to provide that service for our kids. So that's kind of where we are in the past. I talked to you about the receiving of the money from the state. We've kind of been working on this plan with Clinton to kind of work with that. So if we just kind of go through your handout, you'll see kind of the programs that would be offered. There's a dark gray section over here. And so some of these are already in our current facilities, but would move to be able to provide kind of a working together. We have more programs in Lawrence than Clinton has, but you can see that building construction would move to the Career Center, digital arts and designs, healthcare. We have 3 healthcare teachers. Clinton has 1, but all of ours are massively full. We have 150 kids on a waiting list for health care kind of programs. And so whenever we're looking at what we can offer at those, you can kind of see the different ones. Some of the new ones that are there: cosmetology, emergency management services, nail tech, barbering, culinary arts, AI, cybersecurity. You can see that there's some new ones in there. You also got drone. Also, the collision repair is there. We have automotive, but we don't necessarily have collision, to where you're actually doing body work. And then there's, on the right-hand side, some of the programs that would stay at our schools. The ag systems, we both have greenhouses already. We already have horticulture, working on your own sports turf grounds. So some of those would stay on our high schools. You can kind of see the other ones that are there: business, accounting, sports med, marketing, and then the JROTC programs. And we also partner with Elcam, which is out there near Walmart Distribution, and they already offer for us HVAC, machine tool, and mechatronics. And so those are the programs that we would still continue to use there. We're not trying to compete with anybody. We're just trying to be able to get all the programs provided for our students. You can see on the far right, the different staffing needs that we need to be able to run the facility. Some of those are teachers that we already have, so those teachers will just transfer from our high schools to the CATE Center and that type of thing. So you can kind of see where we are with that. And then the new staff and program phasing. Kind of looking at phase one, whenever we open it, we want to go ahead and offer collision, culinary, cosmetology. Phase two, digital arts, add 2 nurses. That's nursing programs. And so you can kind of see how those would kind of phase in. And that's some of the things that could kind of swap back and forth based on the need and availability of the teachers. One of the reasons we need this is whenever you look at this map, we're the only district in the upstate that does not have a career and technology facility for our kids. You can see 37 out of 46 counties have that. We're 9 out of 10 in the upstate. And so whenever you start looking at the opportunities for our kids, it shouldn't matter that if they go 10 miles up the 14, they could go to a career and technology center. So that's why we're looking at really trying to focus together as a county to be able to provide this for our kids. Kind of went through this a little bit, kind of the fully staffed needs, the annual budget that would be there, the programs we talked about already that's in the system, and the needs and services that would be there. So kind of looking at that phase in a little bit, you're looking at now that we don't have the pot of money from the state that we thought we were going to have a couple of years ago. And what does that look like access-wise? So we will continue to go to the state, work with our legislators to request that funding, see if there are any large chunks of money that we could get from the state. But we're also trying to position ourselves to be ready for the next penny sales tax component. And looking at, since that would be a county-wide penny sales tax, that would be something that we would be kind of focusing on as we move forward to position ourselves to be a viable option in that. So kind of looking at what the building looks like and where it would be. If you see this cul-de-sac right down here, or this roundabout right here, this is the chamber behind the hospital. So this is that component right there. And so we're looking at the roundabout down here, chamber, and so this would be the facility right behind the chamber. And looking at where that would kind of lay land-wise, what the structure would look like, where parking would go, and there would eventually be a road coming off this roundabout straight up here to come in the backside of the parking lot. So you could actually get there. Yes, sir?
A lot of this looks like kind of getting into associate degree territory.
Yes.
How do you?
So there's a lot of push for career and college readiness, and this is really focused on the career readiness side. So some of these would be technical school type options, and I'll get back to the camera, I'm sorry. And so whenever you're looking at those options of being able to be dual enroll, some of those would be able to account for some of that coursework. We offer some high school courses already, college courses already. They can lead with an associate's degree. They can also lead with a lot of different types of certifications. And so like whenever our nurses leave, they can lead with a CNA, that type of thing already whenever they leave high school.
How do schools like Piedmont Tech think about that?
They're the ones that are providing the coursework, so they actually have to give the course credits. So we partner with USC Union, we partner with Piedmont Tech, PC, Lander. We offer all those courses in different options for kids to be able to take college courses. We have a lot of kids that will leave with 30, 35, 36 hours before they even actually walk into a college, so they might already have their freshman year taken care of. All right, so continue looking at the facility here. You can kind of see kind of the layout, and since we do have the $4 million that we've been working, we've been able to go a lot of work and actually get a lot of the kind of coursework, the layout of where the facilities are, and also the courses and the classes. This right here would provide a huge another area for like a multi-purpose room that you could have like large meetings with. This is a retractable seating for like theater style seating, or you actually have a huge facility for like large meetings there too. This will be the culinary arts section. You have the administrative side, and across the back would be a lot of your building construction, your welding classes, anything that would need roll-up doors on the back side would be there. Kind of the middle section. On the left is your health science, right, your digital arts, your cosmetology and barbering is all right here in this section, which would be close to a parking lot for people to come in and out. And then you have some fire science and some emergency medical options there too.
The opportunities that I might not have received otherwise. Really enjoy being here. I look forward to working with kids who are wired similar to myself, have an aptitude that I have. I also recognize that not all kids are wired the same. So these kids, we reach out to them through the CATE program, and they learn another pathway to success in life.
Many of our students are coming from places where they don't get the encouragement to look at these opportunities, or they're just not aware of them. So a Career and Technology Center exposes them to careers and opportunities that are often overlooked. And because we hear so much about four-year colleges, the shortage of nurses, the shortage of teachers, but the thing that we're starting to hear more about that may dwarf that is a shortage of skilled labor or skilled staff members. Those are all very lucrative careers that are overlooked. These students will have an opportunity to be exposed to and possibly go beyond the Career Center and have degrees or certifications that could have them, honestly, and what we hear is in their 20s making six figures, and they don't even know those opportunities exist. So yes, we talk about the numbers in the millions, but it's an investment, a major investment in the quality of life for this whole area.
I can impact the world by saving lives, and I know the Career Center would make that happen more faster and efficiently. I want to be there to do that for people. Like that's one of my main goals.
So when I first got on MIG, I was struggling, and then I finally figured it out. And then when I did my first big test and passed it, that was just something that motivated me to just keep on going and keep learning and then get to the next step.
I'm ready to make an impact on the world because I've seen what happens, like just out of the blue. Like COVID, that happened out of nowhere. People had to stay home. Hospitals were packed everywhere, and like nowadays, nurses are really needed because, as you can see, like you never know what happens in the day of your life. I'm very thankful for classes like this one, firefighting, EMT class.
Currently, I'm taking marketing and entrepreneurship. I'm thankful for those classes because it'll help me towards my future in owning a restaurant.
I'm thankful for this class for just allowing me to do what I need to do in this class and teaching me the ways, and I'm probably do some well after school, so I'm looking forward to it.
I know already I'm prepared for my future because of these classes. I'm very thankful for that I have this education center where I can take these classes and learn all that I need to know for my future, help me out, get prepared early, start young, so I'll know what to do in the future.
And the center will provide our community with skilled, experienced, certified professionals. And to me, that is a win.
The potential growth in Lawrence is huge, sitting right here on the course of two interstates and being prime location for our industry. We need to be able to provide the workers and the workforce for our industry to be able to recruit them into our area.
I look forward to having a career technology education center. Lawrence County is in need of it because we have opportunities for students. And if you're going to have students with the best opportunities, they need to have the skills, the work skills to be successful. And this career center is the hope and the dream of making that a reality and not just a possibility.
So, any questions? That's kind of our dream and our vision for our students and our county. So, yes, sir.
You know, like everyone I do want to make, I know it's time to leave, but I do want to make a couple of comments. Regarding dental hygienists, I have been talking to Keith Montague about creating that program for at least the past 4 years. And I don't know why there's a disconnect, but every dentist in this town needs hygienists and are having to bring people in from Spartanburg, Greenville, whatnot. So that's the soapbox that I've come from. Yes, so it's a need, and I'm not sure why Keith Montague doesn't want to hop on board with that. And Ms. Patty, I wanted to make a comment about the impact fees and the referendum from previous years. We did do extensive conversations regarding impact fees and the amount of logistics that goes into it, where it can be used, how it can be used, the length of time and when it has to be approved before groundbreaking and things of that nature. It just didn't ever align, but we have talked about that extensively. And then as far as the previous referendum, I know that didn't go anywhere, but our hope, I think, and I guess I'm kind of out of line here, I'm speaking from a support member. Our hope is that the transparency that we are trying to provide this go around, with location, exactly what will take place, what money's going to what, we're hoping that that will have a bigger impact on the community, that they would be interested in saying yes to this particular endeavor. So, but as Jody mentioned, we're going to do some town halls, I guess starting at the beginning of the year to bring people in to have those discussions. So we'd love for all of you to come to those as well. I want to thank our guests, Brad, Ann, and Ms. Faye. We appreciate you being here. And I do want to mention, Jody shared this with me right before the meeting, but the Ridge has been so good to us, and they lost one of their employees this morning, Mr. Keith Rock. He's been with them for a couple of years, and he passed away suddenly this morning of a heart attack. So keep the people here, his coworkers and his family, in their prayers. So, are there any other announcements for the public?
Just remember, next week is Christmas party week, so if you want to dress festively, feel free to, but it's not a requirement, unless your last name is Moore, and then you're required to. All right.
Listen, I'm going to be out next week, so if anybody wants to borrow my sweatshirt.
Something reminded me when you gave him the book at Rotary Readers, the first steps, this week or last week, but anyway, we gave each child a book, and they were so thrilled to get their own little books. And Edie is the one that collects all these books and has headed up this program. And it really is heartwarming to see these little children and how much they appreciate it, because a lot of them are from homes that don't have the resources to provide that. So
Right.
I want everybody to know that that's a good thing.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Ms. Edie. for
Edie
forwarding that.
stored the books. Scott Tollison has been the person who's been feeding me these books a long time. I stored them and used them, but he didn't get the books. I didn't want credit for something I did for him.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you.
Mrs. Little, we have different winter events that the public is invited to, so please be on the lookout for posts on social media. We've sent internally to our parents and marketers, but we want to make sure that you guys get to enjoy it, because we think you're always supporting our events.
Yeah, I think there's a list that's a half a page long of events with all the students around the district for this next 2 weeks. So, yeah, we'd love to have anyone come to those if they're available. All right. Now, if you will stand and join me